Jasmine held her acceptance letter with both hands like it might disintegrate. She had just been released from prison 3 months earlier, and in that short time, she'd found transitional housing, enrolled in outpatient treatment, and finally, after 3 tries, applied to a local community college. She'd written her personal statement by hand at the shelter, then typed it up on a public library computer, editing each paragraph to strike a delicate balance between honesty and self preservation. Should she mention the prison sentence, the trafficking, the years she spent surviving, not studying? When the letter came back with the word accepted at the top, Jasmine burst into tears. It felt like something sacred had been returned to her, a chance to start again. But the celebration didn't last long. Within weeks, she found out her enrollment had been flagged for additional review. A background check had pulled up her conviction. Now she was being asked to explain, in writing, why she deserved a second chance. This is what college looks like after incarceration. It's not just about grades or deadlines. It's a gauntlet of stigma, surveillance, and second guessing. For many women, it's harder to get into school than it was to get out of prison. Higher education is often positioned as a pathway to redemption, a way for formerly incarcerated people to rebuild their lives. But that path is full of traps. Despite growing attention to second chance programs, the reality is that most colleges are still deeply inhospitable to people with criminal records, especially women who've been system involved and labeled in complex intersectional ways. Inmate, sex worker, addict, trafficking victim, mother. One of the most immediate and damaging barriers is the college admissions process itself. Many schools still include criminal history questions on their applications, known as the box. While ban the box efforts have succeeded in pushing back on this in employment and housing, college applications remain a site of unchecked bias. Applicants with records are often forced to write justification essays or go through special disciplinary review boards that operate with little transparency or appeal. Women who have already endured the scrutiny of the legal system must now submit to another system's judgment, one that rarely understands the nuances of criminalization, survival, or structural violence. And for survivors of trafficking and exploitation, whose charges may stem directly from their own victimization, these questions can be re-traumatizing. They are asked to perform contrition for choices they never had, explain records tied to crimes committed against them, and reassure institutions that they're safe. Even when they are admitted, formerly incarcerated students face a campus environment not built with them in mind. There are few dedicated supports, almost no counselors with lived experience, and virtually no trauma-informed systems of care. Financial aid is another landmine. Requirements for tax records, stable housing, or parental information can disqualify students who are starting from scratch. Scholarships often exclude people with felony convictions, and many federal or state grants are restricted by drug offense history. And yet, women go anyway. They fight for each class, each textbook, each hour of study squeezed between work shifts, child custody battles, probation check-ins, and the invisible labor of healing from incarceration. They don't just show up to learn, they show up to survive. But what changes everything is connection. Women who return to college post-incarceration often find strength not in the institution itself, but in each other. Peer-led support groups, prison-to-college bridge programs, and formerly incarcerated student organizations are lifelines. They create space to ask questions you can't Google. How do I explain my record in class discussions? What do I say when a professor references those people? How do I keep going when the world still sees me as what I was, not who I'm becoming? Wraparound programs that include mentorship, housing navigation, counseling, academic coaching, and direct advocacy can turn what feels impossible into reality. In some of the most transformative programs, Formerly incarcerated students become teachers themselves, peer mentors, workshop facilitators, and policy advocates fighting to change the very systems they once had to navigate alone. And that's what true reentry looks like. Not just survival, not just doing better, but building power, voice, and knowledge. College for these women isn't just a place to learn, it's a place to unlearn the internalized shame of incarceration and to reimagine a future that centers their agency, not their arrest record. Still, for every Jasmine who makes it through, there are thousands more stuck at the gate, denied access because of outdated policies, criminalizing paperwork, or institutions too afraid to invest in women with pasts. That's why we need more than just platitudes about second chances. We need structural change. Ban the box, fund the future. At Swap Behind Bars, we believe education is a right, not a reward. We fight for the dignity of criminalized women, not just to be released from cells, but to be welcomed into classrooms. But we can't do it alone. Push your local colleges and universities to ban the box in admissions. Support programs that hire formerly incarcerated educators. Advocate for scholarships and emergency funds that don't discriminate based on a person's past. And if you can, donate to help us provide direct support to students navigating the chaos of reentry and the courage of registration, because every course completed is a step toward freedom that can't be revoked. Let's make sure the door doesn't close again once she walks through it. Closing the chapter, opening the future. Education is more than a classroom, a test, or a diploma. For criminalized women, survivors, and sex workers, it's a form of resistance. It's a survival strategy. It's a way to reclaim power in systems designed to keep us voiceless. Throughout this series, we've challenged what education really looks like behind bars and beyond. We've named the barriers, lifted up the hustlers and healers, and made one thing clear. Real learning starts when we stop gatekeeping and start listening. At Swap Behind Bars, we believe every woman, regardless of her past, deserves access to knowledge, support, and the tools to shape her own future. Now let's turn these words into action.